All right. I am just going to hammer out this other part for you while still coughing a lot. All right, we get to use synthetic division. Yay. Except for my pen's not going to work, so I'm not going to have to get very far. You can only use synthetic division if you're dividing by a plain old x plus or minus a number. So in this case, I'm dividing by x plus 3. So that is okay. But when you go to put a number in the box to do your division, keep in mind that you use what would be the 0. It says write out your quotient and remainder in polynomial form. I'll show you how we're going to do that so that it matches what you're asked to do on the test. So keep in mind that if this is an x plus 3, I put a negative 3 in here. It's like the 0 that would go with that. This is going to be my coefficients. This goes with my x cubed, x squared. I have 0 x's and a negative 27. That's by far the most popular thing to do wrong. So don't forget you need a 0 space saver if you're missing a power of x. This drops, and then anything below the line gets multiplied by the number in the box. So that becomes a negative 6, 3, negative 9, so negative 9. I'm just multiplying and then adding. Positive 27, boom. So that went in evenly. And since this was an x cubed, it drops by 1 power every time because you're dividing out 1 power of x. So if you think about just this first thing, that would reduce to 2x squared. That's where this is coming from. So my answer is 2x squared plus this 3, which is now in front of an x, and then minus 9, which is my constant. This would be my remainder, but I don't have one, so I just leave it. Here I can use I can use synthetic again because it's plain x, and the 0 that would go with that is a positive 2. And then here I have an x to the third and then no other x's. So I have 2x to the thirds, 0x squareds, 0 plain x's, and then a 5. So drop the 2, multiply to get a 4, 0 plus 4, multiply to get an 8, 0 plus 8, multiply to get a 16, 21, and I'm done. So that means that this is a remainder. It also means that x minus 2 is not a factor of 2x cubed plus 5, whereas here, x plus 3 is a factor of this top function, or I would have gotten a remainder. If it went in evenly, there's no remainder. If it has a remainder, it didn't go in evenly. So this was an x cubed. It'll drop by a power of 1 like always. So the answer is going to be written as 2x squared plus 4x plus 8. That's this part. Then I add whatever I have as a remainder over whatever I was dividing by, which is this thing. That is the proper form for writing this. Okay, so this one's kind of tricky because there's a 3, but I don't want to do long division. And it says to do synthetic. So what I'm doing is I'm thinking, all right, I need the first one to be a 1. So I'm going to divide it by 3, but I have to do that to the whole problem. So now this becomes x minus 1/3. So when I go to do my synthetic division, I'm going to have a 1/3. And I know you're probably starting to sweat it out because we don't like to get fractions. Fair enough. So let's manage them the best we can because we're in honors math. Now, this thing is messy Messerson because it has to be highest power. The highest power is going to be the x cubed. So I'm going to have a 3 x cubed. Then I'm going to have negative 7x squared, a minus 22x. And then I'm going to have the 8 at the end because I have my x cubed, x squared, plain, x, and constant. So I'm going to drop the 3. And then it stops being super awful for a minute because 1/3 times 3 is just 1. So I get negative 6. It's still not awful because 1/3 of negative 6 is just going to be a negative 2. So then this becomes negative 24. It's still not awful because 1/3 of negative 24 is going to be negative 8, and I get 0, which means there's no remainder, which means that this 3x minus 1 up here is a factor of this top function because there was nothing left over. If this was x cubed, this still drops by a power of 1 and then goes on down from there. So my answer is 3x squared minus 6x minus 24. No remainder, so I'm done. If you look at the answer key that's posted from Miss Arnold, you're going to see that she divided the whole problem by 3, which is fine. This is the same as if I went through here and divided everything by 3 and got x squared minus 2x minus 8. But this is what I would probably do, and I would leave it as that. But if it makes more sense to you to divide it by 3 earlier on or later, that's fine too. Okay. So this last part, the back page, is really going to just tie all the concepts of factors, zeros, all of it together and really think it through. So read what it's really saying and then figure out what that means to do. So if x plus 3 is a factor, I'm thinking one of my zeros is going to be -3. Find the value of d. Ooh, this is kind of tricky. So we're going to want to know how to do this. So knowing that it's a 0, what could I do? Well, I would go, okay, I'm going to put my 2, my 5, my -6, and my d. Shayla's calling me, and I'm going to call her back because she said she's otherwise going to bed, and I need to talk to her. So I will make installment 3. Sorry. Bye.